Let's take a look at some of the most powerful women in business who are using feminine energy to increase their earnings. I thought this would be such a fun little thing for us to look at and hang out and check out is the women who are leading business from this very empathetic, intuitive, connected space. And I picked out some YouTube videos.
And very complicated trying to navigate, trying to change the conversation from, okay, this girl that was involved in this scenario with another dating app into she launches this new one, putting females at the helm. People didn't want to get on board. People didn't want to support. People wanted to say, oh, that's silly, it's niche, it's never gonna work, she's just this, she's an opportunist, she's a every word in the book. So I think that's been a huge.
Navigating emotional discipline when things aren't happening in her favor. Like the case here is there was a sexual harassment suit going on at her previous company, which was Tender. And now she's like creating this new company. She's pivoting and she is leading this business from a very mission-driven space of Bumble, where the woman makes the move first. The women are in power here. And it's so inspiring to hear her talk about, despite the physical array of people who are saying she's an opportunist, what is she doing? She continues to be the woman's first self-made billionaire.
Huge challenge, but I think it also really propelled me. It was like, this driving force. You will always have people telling you it's wrong, it's stupid, it's bad, do it left, do it right, do it up, do it down, do it blue, do it pink. You have to stay on track. What was the I love Bumble. I can feel the difference. It feels like a safe, amazing place. I love the product. Watching people talk about the product, that's when I realized I think we have something here. You done. Find something they're passionate about. And you can't be passionate about something that only benefits you. I'm very confident that there's no way to be passionate about something that is entirely self-driven. It has to have an impact beyond oneself. What's the
That's such a good point. It has to have an impact beyond just oneself. And I feel like that's so true in like just, building a business in general. And that mission-driven approach to building is so, so important. So let's look at what other people have to.
Up on me.
That's got to be a trip to go to Harvard. But what's turning you on more? The idea that you're a successful entrepreneur, now with magazines, books, website, the whole deal, or the acting thing? What feels like a better
I
accomplishment?
love my role at Goop, and
Better than acting,
I think I do.
better than winning an Oscar.
Look, I'm so grateful for that whole period of my life. I mean, it was incredible, and I think I was able to start Goop because I had that platform as an actor, and I wouldn't change anything. And it was really weird for me to pivot and to kind of essentially walk away from a film career to try to be an entrepreneur. And I've learned so much. It's been so humbling and so fascinating, and the learning curve has been so steep, and I'm so proud of the team and what we're doing. And so I can't imagine, it almost gives me the same feeling of exhilaration that you get when you're on stage. It's a similar thing.
That's so interesting. She is talking about like how creating this business of her own is so much more empowering than all the fame, all the wealth. She still chooses to be in a company that makes impact. And that's so beautiful.
I can feel it in all of us. And I think that we all have masculine and feminine energy inside of us. It's not just gender. And the feminine energy on the planet has been so squashed for a really long time. And
Yes, absolutely. Since the industrial era, like the feminine energy, the empathy, the intuitive, like has been squashed for so long when that really helps us in business, actually.
the business arena, it has been so masculine, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's basically been a masculine construct. Women have only recently been allowed to even play in this arena. And so I think what it means is this moment of showing there is another way. like 21 years ago when I started spending.
Yes, we no longer have to deal with the paradigm of masculine driven, and it's not even masculine driven culture in business. There's a lot of like just toxic culture in business. It's not necessarily like masculine. It's just like forcing you to be in a certain way because the conscious masculine has both feminine and masculine parts of them. It's like allowing this very analytical part of them along with the intuitive part of them. But the problem is that we've completely gone off the rails on what it is to be conscious in business.
I ended up in the paper in Atlanta, and I was at a cocktail party, and a couple of guys came up to me and they said, Sarah, we read about you, congratulations, we heard you invented something. And I said, yes, I did, I'm so excited. And they said, yeah, business is war. And then they pat me on the shoulder and they kind of laughed amongst each other and they said, yeah, business is war, Sarah, I hope you're ready. And Moira, I went back home to my apartment that night. I was 29 and I just thought, I'm not going to war.
Yeah, you don't have to go to war. You don't have to make it this exhausting, suffering till the end experience. It gets to be this impactful, driven experience of building something that's important to you, that makes an
And I'm
impact.
gonna do this very different. I'm gonna honor a lot of like the feminine principles on intuition, empathy, kindness, just allowing myself to be vulnerable through this process. And of course, a lot of the masculine energy stuff helped me also. It was a balance, but I wasn't going to do it by squashing the feminine. And I think people are now seeing these women reach this milestone. And what's cool about it, I think it's inspiring the women, but I also think it's waking up the men in a way that is allowing them to get in touch with the feminine energy in them, which is part of their superpower. And it's giving this permission in the workplace in corporate America that maybe that's not a weakness. Maybe the feminine is actually a strength and needs to be harnessed and needs to have a voice at the table.
100% the feminine needs to have a voice at the table. Women outperform men all the time. Like, we perform as well as better than men in business all the time. But the problem is that not all of us are showing up to the table. Not all of us are creating this huge vision for what our company could be. Let's look at one more.
Sense of the challenges or the hardships, and also allow myself to like receive the wins. I used to
Receiving the wins, so important. As women, it's like put on us, we need to be humble. We need to like watch how much we are obsessed with ourselves. And so receiving the wins, celebrating ourselves sometimes feels like, sticky, but it's so important to celebrate yourself and be your own hype girl.
be up until not too long ago wildly uncomfortable with taking in anything that was good. I felt so undeserving. So I think that's another thing is
Undeserving of taking in anything that was good. Ugh, how many women feel that?
maybe when there's so few of us at the table in those positions of power, especially, we do make up 50% of the population, but we're so wildly underrepresented in business, in a lot of power rooms. And when you don't see yourself, you feel like maybe you don't deserve to be there. And that's fake news, right? It's the conditioning.
That's fake news, that's conditioning. We do deserve to be there.
That we're used to, that we grew up with, that we have to unwind. It's actually important for us to take our companies public. It's actually necessary. Between 2013 and 2020, there were over 2,000 companies that went public, and only 18 of them had female leadership. And then when we look around,
18 out of 2,000 companies that went public had female leadership. 18 out of 2,000 companies that went public had female leadership. Think about that. That is wild.
in the world of politics or business or any of it, and we're like, how is this happening? What year is it? What day and age? What's going on? Haven't we moved past this? And you're like, oh wait, because all of the power still sits where it sits. And so the only way that we can change that is if we are in those positions of power.
And that's all we have to say about that, folks. That was so inspiring to watch, honestly. I hope you guys found something there that you can run with. If you are an entrepreneur, a woman, wanting to expand in your business, the first thing that I encourage you to check in with is your emotional and energetic spectrum. Are you allowing yourself to show up, to take space, to be this leader when maybe for years you've been feeling undeserving of it? It's so important to reach that capacity where you feel so connected to who you are, your mission, and that's what we do in one-on-one coaching at the Fourth State. So send me a message on Instagram, set up a free call. It is an amazing program if you have been wanting to start a company or if you've been wanting to reach the next level of income in your company. I want to hear from you. Sending you guys so much love. Bye.